Okay, so the premise is there are 21 employees working in a division, out of whom 10 are special skills, 10 are SE, and obviously the 11 are RE. I'm not taking notes as of now, so just let me read that. I'll just mark these things. During the next 5 months, the division has to complete 5 projects every month. Out of the 25 projects, 5 projects are challenging, and the rest are this thing. So total of 25 projects. Again, 5 projects are challenging, and the remaining are standard ones. Each of the challenging projects has to be completed in different months. So effectively, in every month you have just one challenging project, right? Because there is a total of 5 challenging projects. So each month has one challenging project and 4 standard projects. Now every month, 5 teams, T1 to T5, work on one project each. Okay. And T1 to T5 are allotted the challenging project in first, second, third, fourth, fifth, respectively. Okay. So T1 in the first month, T2 in the second month, T3 in the third month, and so on, gets the challenging project. The team assigned the challenging project as one more employee than the rest. Okay. So this is a good information because I know that 21 are the total employees. Had it been one less, let us do it in this way, then there would be 20 employees, which would be equally distributed among the 5 teams, because the one that is extra, I'm just taking that off. This is that -1. So whichever is the challenging project, so I'm just denoting that by a circle, gets one more employee. So apart from that, the rest of the number of employees will be equally distributed, so 4 each. But the challenging one gets one more. So this is what we have, right? So challenging project gets 5 employees, and the rest of it gets 4 employees. So this, if you understand this idea, then you can do this mentally. So now you can keep a mental note of it, or let me keep this as of now. Let's see what the rest of the information goes. So there is this is for the challenging one, the one that is circled, and the rest of it is the standard one, are the standard ones. So let's get into the next paragraph now. So in the first month, T1 has one more SE than T2. T2 has one more SE than T3. T3 has one more T4 SE than. Okay, so same. So it's more of an AP series, right? Now in an AP series, if you think in this way, I mean, if you're good with numbers, you might notice the allocation straight away, because there are total of 10 SEs, right? So if there are total of 10 SEs, and these have to be distributed in AP series with a common difference of -1 in this direction. In AP series, I know that the average is the middle term, right? So there are 5 teams here out of 10, for 10 members to be allocated, the 10 SEs, I mean. So the average will be the middle term, right? So this has to be 2. So implies this is 3, this is 4, this is 1, this is 0. So these are the allocations in terms of the SEs. So these are the SEs. But clubbing it with this information, we will also get the REs, right? So let us do that. So let me draw this table. So just keep a note of this, a mental note of this, and let me draw a table here. So let's do that now. Okay, so you don't need to keep a mental note. I'll just draw on the table beside. I'll get to the premise in a while. So I just want to allocate these numbers first. So let me look at these things that we already know. So first of all, T1 has 4 SE. So this is for the first month. That was what the information was about. This is 3 SE, 2 SE, 1 SE, and no SEs. And we also know in the first month, T1 gets a challenging project. So I'll just circle it out. So T1 gets a challenging project in the first month, and so it is supposed to have 5 total employees, right? So there has to be one RE here. The rest of it has to have 4 employees. So T2 gets one RE, T3 gets 2 RE, T4 gets 3 RE. I'm just trying to balance out 4, and this gets 4 RE. So this should automatically balance out. I don't need to verify. So this automatically gets balanced out, right? So now let us get to the premise. So this is what we have for the first month. Now, after that, there is some movement mentioned. So between 2 successive months, the composition of the teams changes as follows. So there is a movement in between the teams, right? So there are 2 points here. A says the team allotted the challenging project gets 2 SE from the team which was allotted the challenging project in the previous month. So, okay. So I'll just denote this visually as of now. So I'll just write this here. So point number S says, let me write it somewhere here. Yeah. Point number A says that the challenging project which was in previous month, whichever team that was, and the challenging project of the current month. So let's say current month, I'll just write the CM or something. So from the previous month to the current month, there will be two SCs shifted, right? So gets two SC from the team which was allotted the challenging project in the previous month. In exchange, one RE shifted from the former team to the latter team. So there is two SC moving this side and one RE moving this side, right? Now, this will automatically take care of the composition of the team in terms of the total number of members, right? That is supposed to happen, right? Uh, the challenging project always have to have one more employee than the standard ones. The This project is now challenging in this month, and this is standard in this month, isn't it? It's a challenging of the previous month. So if you observe this closely, so the challenging of the previous one, so which is standard now, two employees are leaving that project and one is joining. So the total value is reducing by one. And the one that is challenging in the current month, two are increasing and one is reducing. So automatically that increases by one. So we don't have to worry about that part. That is automatically taken care of. Number B says after the above exchange. So after this B happens. So after this B is saying that T1, if T1 has any SC and T5 has any RE, then one SE shifted from T1 to T5 and one RE shifted from T5 to T1. So this is simply between T1 and T5, right? So if there is an SE left, it will go this side. So I don't need to anyhow write that if thing, because otherwise this doesn't make sense. You cannot have minus one SE or something, right? So this I automatically will understand. So one SE moves this side and one RE comes this side. And also, if T2 has any SE and T4 has any RE, then one SE shifted from T2 to T4 and one RE from T. So same exchange, right? So same type of exchange between T2 and T4. One SE this side and one RE this side. So this is the couple of change in allocation that we will be working with. Sorry. So let's look at the final information that we have. Each standard project has a total of 100 credit points, while each challenging project has 200 credit points. So there's something related to credit points as well. The credit points are equally shared between the employees included in that team. Okay, so now I know that the standard project has always 4 employees, and the challenging ones have always 5 employees. So what I can do is I can also get this credit point thing in terms of individuals. So let's do that. So for challenging projects and for the standard ones, you have certain amount for teams and certain amount for individuals. Let's say so we can allocate this value. For challenging, we have 200 allocated, and for standard, we have 100 allocated. The challenging project, whichever that is, will have 5 employees. So individuals will get 40 each because that is equally shared between the employees. And the 100 will be divided among 4 people. So that will be 25 each. So this is a good number, or maybe something related to it might come up. And before we go into the questions, I'm just going to draw the remaining ones. I don't know how many is required. So I'll not solve this entire table as of now. I'll just keep these things drawn. And one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to circle these ones which are the challenging projects. This is something we already know, right? So let me keep that as an indicator. So now let us get into the questions and check them out. 29, the number of times in which the composition of team T2 and the number of times in which composition of team T4 remain unchanged in 2 successive months are. Okay, so this is something to do with the composition itself. I mean, I have to figure out each and every. So for T2 and T4, almost I have to figure out all the teams. So let me hold on to this for a while. 30 is asking for the number of SE in T1 and T5 for the projects in the third month are respectively. So this might be done right away. There's 11 for the third month and only for T1 and T5. So not too much to do, I believe. But okay, let's hold on again. But this we can handle, right? I mean, compared to 29, this is slightly easier. 31 asks for which of the following cannot be the total credit points earned by an employee from the project. So this is about the individual, right? So this is something we can handle straight away. Maybe there is one idea that is coming to my mind. See, we have for any individual in a particular month, that individual might get either 40 points or 25 points, right? It has to be a combination of these. So whenever you have these two combinations, I always deal with offsets, the change. So that becomes a little easy because we know that each employee is working for 5 months, isn't it? So if a particular employee, so I can start with the highest possibility or lowest possibility. In this case, I have a 200 as an option, which I know is correct because suppose a particular employee works in challenging project for each of the 5 months. So that person will get 200, right? So let's work from this 200. So 200 is possible provided the individual works in the challenging project for each of the 5 months. And there is no reason why they cannot, right? As of now, I cannot identify that. So so let's work around with this. Work with this. Sorry, I don't know why I keep saying work around. Anyhow, so we have this 200 that is definitely feasible. Now, think in this way. This is the offset technique. Always look at the changes. So from 40, the only change that can happen is to 25, right? So 40 to 25, there's a drop of 15, isn't it? Now, it could drop by 15, or it could drop by couple of 15s or 3 15s or something like that, isn't it? So let's put it in this way. This total credits that a particular employee achieves should be in this form: 200 minus a certain number of 15s. And obviously this certain number cannot be more than 5, so obviously that. But then you don't have an option which is below 125 or something. 125 will be the lowest possibility, right? 25 into 5. So that is why I was working with the highest one. Because now if you look at this, which are the options that are feasible? So 170, yeah, that is possible because 200 minus 30. 30 is quite possible to be a multiple of 15. 150 is not possible because if you need to go from 200 to 150, you need to drop by 50. But how is 50 a multiple of 15? That is not possible, isn't it? So this 150 is not possible. So that is what we are looking for, right? Cannot be. So that is the answer. So this was pretty easy. So this credit point thing. Let us look at the next one. 32 is asking for one of the employees named Anik. Let me take this off first. One of the employees named Anik scored 185 points. So this idea, I may not have erased that, but anyhow, I hope you remember it. So 200 minus 15 is 185, isn't it? So what does that imply? There is one time that the drop requires. I mean, one time you need a drop. So this 200 was when you have 5 challenging projects, isn't it? But if you drop it by 15 once, which implies that one of the challenging projects convert to one standard project. So basically, you're left with 4 challenging ones. So effectively, indirectly, this offset technique is very helpful because now it tells me that this employee works in 4 challenging project and one standard project, isn't it? So one of these 5 months, this Anik person should have worked in a standard project, and the remaining 4 months he should have worked in a challenging project. So let's straight away look at possibilities without the movement again. So can we figure this out? So let's look at option A. Anik worked in teams T1, T2, only in the teams T1, T2, T3, and T4. Very much possible, right? Is if you look at, I'm not looking at what I meant by not looking at the movement is I don't want to fill this entire table, but I have to look at the movement a bit because there is a movement of the point number A itself. The point number A tells me that you can move from challenging to challenging project on every month, right? Because there are two SCs which are moving along. So assume it in this way that Anik worked in T1 in the first month, then T2 in the next month. He moved. He's one of those two SCs. Then again in T3 in the next month. Again T4 in the next month. But every month there are two SCs moving from one challenging to the next challenging project, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that Anik has to be that one. So it is possible that in the fourth month, Anik stays in the team T4. So if this situation happens, then obviously this option can be correct. So this option is feasible, right? So let me take this ticks off. So this is feasible. So let me put a tick mark for that. We are looking for cannot be true. Acha, what about B? B says T1, T2, T4, and T5. So again, only. So Anik worked only in the teams T1, T2, T4, and T5. So let's look at the feasibility of it. Again, four challenging, one standard. So let's start with T1 again. So T1 first month, T2 next month. Now he has to go to T4 directly, right? So in order to do that, you need to have this skip, isn't it? This one SE, one RE skip. So that is point number B. So there is a if condition to this, but right now I'm not. I don't want to eliminate it straight away. So if it is feasible, then I'll just put a question mark for this. So let's assume that Anik actually skipped. So Anik actually skipped from T2 to T4 in the next month itself. We could do it 1 month later also. Actually, we can't because once we move to T3, we cannot go to T4, right? So let's skip it now itself. I mean, in this month 3 itself. So T1 in the first month, repeating again, T1 in the first month, T2 in the next month. In the third month, directly skips to T4, let's say. In the fourth month, he stays on T4, works on a challenging one. And then in the next month, goes to T5. So I'm just trying to fill this four challenging. That is my objective, right? And one standard has to come in somewhere or the other. So this also may be satisfying. I'm just putting a maybe because at this moment I don't know the compositions because this condition requires. This particular movement requires a if condition. So this is a maybe kind of situation. So let me take these ticks off. Let's look at the next option now. Third one says Anik worked in teams T2, T3, T4, T5. Yeah, this is feasible. This is anyhow feasible because suppose in the first month, I need four challenging and one standard. Always remember that. So if he has to work in T2, T3, T4, T5, suppose all these four were challenging ones. So T2 gets the challenging in this month, T3 in this month, T4 in this month, T5 in this month. So the one standard when obviously it could be in the first month because suppose he started in the first month in team T2 and he did not move to any other team in the second month, so he stayed with T2. Now from the third month onwards he can just move one team forward, right? So starts with T2, then T3, starts with T2, stays in T2 in the next month. So these two ticks basically, then moves to T3, then to T4, then to T5. So this is also possible. This need not be a question mark. So this is quite possible. So B is just a question mark now. Let's look at the last one. D says Anik worked only in teams T1, T3, T4, and T5. Okay, so if he started with T1, so there will be some possibilities here or cases here. So let's look at that. So suppose he started with T1. Now the problem is it says only, right? So he can never go to T2. So he might go to T5, but then the situation is now he cannot be both SE as well as RE, right? Because T1 to T5, the movement is SE and T5 to T1 is RE. So he cannot come back to T1. So he has to stick on T5 throughout. But then he has worked just in two of the projects, right? I mean, two of the challenging projects, not four challenging projects. This was the main requirement, isn't it? So he just works in the challenging project here and here. But where there's a four challenging come out to be. Is there any other possibility? Let me look at that. So suppose he started with is there any other possibility? he cannot start with T2 also. I mean, if he starts with T3, then 2 months he'll never work in, this thing. He has to work in standard project. I need only one standard. This doesn't seem possible because this is the main problem. I mean, from if he has to start with T1, because I need to satisfy four challenging. I mean, if T1 has to be one of the teams, it's ideal that you start with T1. If you miss out T1, then in the following months you have to work on T2, T3, T4, T5, right? But he never works on T2. The word is only. So T1 has to be the challenging one, isn't it? This four challenging has to be these four teams. But this is not possible. If we start with T1, that is the case that we discussed. So this option is straight away out. So we get the answer. We don't need to test B. So basically, we know that D is the answer in this case. So these two questions are pretty easy. We can work around with this, work with this credit points itself. So this was a couple of interesting questions. Let's look at number one, 29 and 30. Let's look at 30 first because comparatively that is easier. So for 30, I need the number of SE in T5, T1 and T5 in the third month. So let's look at the movements. First of all, see there are a couple of movements that are possible for T1 as well as T2 in the second month itself because uh, first of all, from first month to second month, you have a movement of the challenging project. So that will require A, and as well as B involves T1 as well as T2. So we need to take care of that. So let's try to do that. First of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write in short. So two SEs move from T1 to T2, and one RE comes from T2 to T1, right? So this reduces by 2 SE, and this increases by 2 SE. Similarly, this increases by 2 RE, and this reduces 2 RE. Sorry, 1 RE. This increases by 1 RE, and this reduces by 1 RE. But after that, the B takes into effect. So after that, what happens is T1 has an SE and T5 has an RE. So there'll be a one SE and one RE exchange. So the SE will reduce by one and increase by RE will increase by one for T1. For T5, SE will increase by one and RE will reduce by one, right? So this is T1 T5 exchange, and similarly for T2 and T4, one SE and one RE. So yeah, this has SE and this has RE. So we can definitely do that. So one SE reduction, one RE increase, and one SE increase and one RE reduction. For T3, there will be no change in the composition, so we can keep this as it is. I don't know whether this will be useful at all. Yeah, for the next month it will be useful. So third month, right? So let's keep that. Now for the third month. So this is what the question is asking for. I need just the SCs, right? So let's focus on the SC only. Uh, no, I can't do that. Is it? Or let's complete that. Anyhow, how much time will it take? So first of all, point number A again. So two SC moves out of this. So you're left with two SC, and one RE comes in, so increases by one. And in this particular thing, team, that is, two SC increases, and this will be the final one anyhow, right? Because the point number B doesn't involve T3 at all. So this will simply increase by 2 and this will reduce by 1. So T3 is that. I did not require T3 anyhow. I don't know why I wrote that. Anyhow, now the next thing, 2 SC and 2 RE. So this will actually reduce by 1 because so I'm looking at this part, T2 and T4. So this has SE and this has RE. So this will reduce by 1. This will increase by 1. This will increase the SE by 1 and reduce the RE by 1. So this exchange is done. But our main focus was T1 and T5. I was just planning to complete 29 together as well. So let's look at this particular team, T1 and T5. So again, this has SE and this has RE. So this exchange will happen. So there is no SE left after this. and 4 RE, and this has 2 SE and 2 RE, right? So effectively, what we can say is for T1 we have 0 SE and T5 we have 2 SEs, right? 0 SE and 2 SE. So that is the answer, 0 comma 2. So that is for 30th. And let's finish 29 also. This is why I was filling it completely, because we are looking for how many times T2 and T4 composition change. So I need to never change, sorry, remain unchanged. So I need to look at the T2 and T4 row especially. But what I find is I don't care about T1 that much anymore, because first of all, T1 doesn't have any, SE remaining. So I can straight away fill this up, but that is not required at all, because T1 T1's composition is not going to affect T5's composition anymore, because this came with an if condition, if you remember. T1 doesn't have any SE, and there is no challenging project involvement in T1 anymore. No movement also, because this is a third to fourth month we are talking about. So let's leave that as blank. I don't care about these two cells anymore. Let us look at first of all the T2 composition, or rather the T4 composition. T4 is getting the challenging project. So let us do that. So T4 gets the challenging project from T3. So there will be an increase of 2 SE. So this becomes 5 SE, and there are no more REs left. So this is also good, because as soon as there are no REs left in T4, this exchange is not going to happen, right? So T2 is going to remain 1 SE and 3 RE for this particular month. So let's leave it at that. T5 I'll take a note of, because in the next month there is a movement of T4 to T5, the challenging project. So let's look at that. Now in T4 again, you get, first of all, just let me write this here. So there is a reduction in 3 SE, 2, there is a reduction in SE by 2. So this becomes 2 SE, and there's an increase of 1 RE. Now there you get 1 RE, right? So there, this T2, T4 exchange will actually happen. So effectively, we can say that here the composition has changed, right? So I'll just write it as changed. I don't care. So just the changed or unchanged thing matters. So here also it is going to change. So all we have to do is just figure out how many times it has remained unchanged. So let us look at the columns. So for T2, there is just one pair of months, one pair of consecutive months where the composition is unchanged. But T4, it's never unchanged, right? So we are looking for successive months. So don't look at this one and this one. So these two have the same composition, but they are not the same. They're not consecutive months. So we're looking for consecutive months, successive months. So T4 never that has happened. T2 it has happened once. So it is 1 comma 0, right? So that is this option B. I hope you can read that. That is 1 comma 0. So this was a set. This comparatively, I mean, not a very tough one. So let's analyze this now. Yeah. So as I was saying, I mean, if you think about the difficulty level was not at all close to anything too tough, right? So I'll rate it at easy to medium. The reason I'm saying easy to medium is the medium thing I'm mentioning is because of that first two questions, and especially the first question, because if you want to solve all the questions in this set, this is a little bit, I mean, the first two questions will take some time. So in terms of time, the time taken, that is where, well, I'm terming this as easy to medium. Otherwise it was a very easy set, especially this credit point thing. So the credit point thing, if you analyze this quickly, so the last two questions can be solved very quickly. So for this particular set, I would again break it down to two types. So for that question number 31 and 32, so the last two questions, typically you can solve this. I mean, obviously, for this part, the reading the set is also a part of it, because after you've read it, these are the first two questions that you try. So it should take you roughly around 4 to 5 minutes, because if you analyze this properly, all you have to do is draw the table, or let me put it as 4 to 6 minutes, depending on how good you are with identifying these sets as a matrix arrangement. But if you can identify that quickly, I don't think you should take more than 5 minutes to figure out the 31 and 32 especially. And for the 29 and 30, the first two questions, if you want to solve them as well, so that itself will take somewhere around, depends on how fast you can do that. So another 3 to 5 minutes. So roughly, I can say it will range a bit depending on how good you are with these kind of things. But if you understand that offset thinking, the first part is going to be, on the lower side. So it will be somewhere around 4.5 minutes. You can figure it out very quickly. So that was it about this set. And that was the last set that we're discussing in this particular slot. So thanks everyone for joining in. Hope you great have a great time ahead.